Hey guys, it's the Tech Guru. I'm with the Samyang 35mm 2.8. So this is probably the smallest lens I've ever seen in person besides my vintage lenses. But this is super small. It's 2.8 f-stop, which I don't think is okay. I think you need at least like a 1.8 for a 35mm just because the 2.8 doesn't let enough light in at all times, and honestly this lens has a hard time focusing, at least on the A7 II, A7 III or A7Rs. Those might be better, but with the camera I had, which is the A7 II, this had a hard time focusing. It missed like probably 50% of the focus shots, and but when it did get the focus right, those pictures were great. They don't look distorted. They have a nice amount of light to it. It could have more if it had a 1.8 stop instead of 2.8, but it's okay. It's what I have. It was only $250-ish, so for that price, it's pretty good. I don't expect a lot out of it, but it met my expectations. It didn't exceed like the Viltrox 85mm did, but it met my expectations. The camera has a focus ring that's pretty smooth. I could use it for videos, but since again it's so small, like the focus ring is like 2 centimeters away from where you're mounting the camera. I mean, mounting the lens on the camera. So for you to do that, you're gonna hit the camera. It's not like you can just do that. You would have to have. I can't do it. So here, I'm gonna give you an example. I can't turn the focus ring all the way without at some point hitting the camera, in which case you're gonna see the shake in your video or pictures or motion blur. I mean, granted it does have in-body stabilization, but you want to be able to put it on a tripod, change the focus from in and out if you're doing that type of zooming for movies or whatever you're doing your photography for, and it's not acceptable, to be quite honest. I think the smallest I would go, 50mm Sony 1.8. This is probably the smallest I would get. Like, the focus ring is perfectly far enough to where you won't hit the camera if you're trying to focus and do those smooth pans from like far to in or in to out. I honestly would not recommend it. If you have the money, get something better. Get something with a 1.8 rather than a 2.8. You will thank me. You will thank me later when you realize you're gonna see my shots like now. You're gonna see that they are either dark or not in focus all the time, or their focus is off a little bit. I'm gonna choose the best ones that I can, but it's not the best lens that you can possibly get. And if you want the best that you can get, Samyang is not it. Still recommend it for $250. If you have the money to spend $500 on a 35mm, go ahead and do that. I will link some. Samyang is okay. I will give it 6 out of 10. It's not perfect, it's not horrible, it's not even average, it's a little above average because of the price and the size. The size and the price is why you would get a Samyang. It's not based off of the performance, it's not based off of the f-stop, because again, it's only a 2.8, it doesn't go down to 1.4 to 1.8, nothing, it's 2.8. And again, it can let more light in if it was bigger, and again, it would cost more because you have more optics. So that's the reason that they kept the price so low, is because it's only an f2.8. If you really want a portrait lens for a 35mm, get a 1.8. Get a 1.8. You will not regret a 1.8 for any portraits, because the bokehs will look great. The 2.8s, they'll still look good. They just won't look great.